Hello, and we're talking today about the rhythms of Yin and Yang in an electric universe. Everybody's familiar with these two separate and interlinking forces. Yin being the silent, the feminine, the negative, the receptive, and Yang being the more visible, emphatic, masculine, positive force under which everything in our known universe exists, and by courtesy of which everything is charged. So Yin is a more difficult rhythm or force to describe because it primarily is to do with that which is hidden and that which is not seen, that which is receiving into itself. It's concerned with patience, states of passivity, listening and abiding. So standing firm, standing still and being firm in conviction is Yang. Okay, it becomes a Yang emphatic state. But standing firm and waiting over a period of time within that state becomes Yin. Stopping in the midst of forward movement or fast motion is Yin within Yang. We appreciate these rhythms when we practice Tai Chi or Qigong, Qigong being the inner principle of Tai Chi. So we can't really do Tai Chi without somehow embracing Qigong. And Qigong is one of the most powerful forms of movement based on the breath in relation to the movement of the body. I think we wanted to talk about Yin and Yang because it's underestimated. You know, it's just thought of as being masculine, feminine. It's thought of as being two diverse forces, often depicted in popular symbolism. You know, the black spot within the white spot and the white spot within the black spot. In jewellery and in other forms, and it's vastly underestimated. But when we consider how we operate within it, it's very important. There are breathing techniques to describe Yin and Yang, and to apply the use of Yin and Yang energies. And applying the use of it means understanding ourselves and our impulses and our innate rhythms. So if we want to eliminate pattern, thought, habit, memory, we would breathe in using the chakras from the root chakra to about the count of 2, hold and pause, breathe in further to the sacral centre to about the count of 3, hold for 2, exhale, breathe into the solar centre, solar plexus for about the count of 4 again, hold for the 2 seconds, exhale again, and come up to the heart chakra next, breathing into about the count of 5, then holding for the pause at each end is quite important. The hold on after the inhalation and the exhalation is very important. It's that pause which actors, singers, dancers use to add emphasis, to bring attention to whatever it is they're displaying or whatever it is they're expressing. Then after the heart chakra comes the throat chakra. So to breathe into as deeply as possible without straining and holding for that 2 seconds with the palm of the hand on the throat chakra activates that chakra of intelligence, and then exhaling to release all unwanted forms of expression or intelligence, holding at the end of the exhalation, and this time replenishing the breath, coming straight up through all those chakras and coming to the brow. So placing the palm on the brow chakra and visualizing how things need to be, how we want things to be, what we want to see become manifest, in the place of what it is we've just banished. And then releasing, and as we release, breathing out in almost little puffs of breath, all the way down until our stomach is almost clutching for the breath, and then just to relax and breathe normally, is to instate something new in the cellular memory. This is, the breathing is, in any shape or form, the way to control what we're receiving into the mind and what the mind is actually transmitting to the universe. Joe, what would you say about Yin and Yang creating the third point?
Well, the third point is the centre. Think of the star. What goes in and what goes out is Yin and Yang. But what is created is the middle bit, which is the star itself, which is the power, the energy, the singularity, if you like. So
it's a little like AC/DC?
No, it's not. It isn't. No, it's,
okay.
It is positive and negative. Positive goes in, it comes out. Negative. And that's why the magnetic field of the sun is so huge, because of the immense power of effectively the Yin and the Yang.
Yeah.
But the third point that a lot of people forget in the symbol, if you can think of the Yin-Yang symbol, and the white and the black swirling round like a whirlwind.
Yes.
With the two.
Like a vortex.
Yeah. That's the creative. You've got to see that emotion for the Yin and Yang symbol to that's basically how it is.
Yeah. This is it. The thing is in motion, and when it is depicted so much in a flat 3D representation, we forget that it is a very live, very pulsating, very vibrant mechanism for the universe and for us. And we're differentiated into gender, male and female, because of Yin and Yang. But of course, in terms of the Jungian way of thinking, we have an animus and an anima, so that a man has an anima, which loosely is 10% of the feminine, and the woman has the animus, which is 10% of the masculine. And without that, we wouldn't balance.
You couldn't function.
We couldn't function, exactly. So this interflow, and of course, it's not strictly 10%. It can be less and it can be more.
Yeah, some people have more, some people have less.
That's right, and so it's depicted as when a woman is doing something extremely sort of brave and emphatic or aggressive, or she's out there building a wall or whatever, she's using her animus. When a man is writing poetry, or he's using his sensitive side, or he's nursing a child, he's in contact with his anima.
Yeah.
And for this reason, we have incarnations in the differing genders and in differing scales of that intensity of gender. So you get people with incarnations which are in a male side more effeminate, or in a female side more masculine. But it's such a rolling, curving, ebbing and flowing force that it's always expressing itself through organism and through the human species and through the weather in ways which are very mercurial and really quite quick changing. And I think we think of it as too static, because in astrology we've got the 12 signs, and the six of the signs are positive, Yang, and 6 of the signs are Yin, negative, feminine. And this tends to be a very flat interpretation. There are arguments about which planets are Yin and which planets are Yang, and some people will stipulate that the planets are, like for instance, Pluto is Yin and Mars is Yang, and other people will keep away from that kind of documentation, which I myself will more. I think I won't use, in terms of describing the planets, very strong yin-yang attachments. I think one of the most yin forces in the universe is Neptune, because Neptune is that nebulous rhythm which is to do with states of oblivion, states of illusion, states of things disappearing. And that is totally yin. The illusions, the illusionary states, I mean, the whole universe might be, material universe might be illusionary, but the more illusionary states within that are attributed to Neptunian forces. Now you see it, now you don't, But, I mean, any magician or illusionist will be familiar with this kind of, this is very young. I'm producing a rabbit out of a hat. I've produced the woman whole after sawing her in half. There's a whole part of that which you don't see because it disappears, because it's disguised, and that's very yin. And that, I think, that happens in life more than we know. If somebody's ever searched for something that's been missing, like their glasses or their wallet or their purse, you search for hours, you search for ages, and it's not there. It's disappeared. Certainly not within your visible range. And then suddenly you turn around, there it is.
When you've forgotten about it.
Yeah, when you've forgotten about it, it's there in a very yang motion. Here I am, staring you in the face. Mm-hmm. And I think that yin and yang is more prevalent, more operative, more, what can we say, mystical than we imagine it might be. It is not as people write it off as, these two, as we've said, very almost flat forces which can be typified and can be understood in terms of one is passive and one is aggressive. And I think there is much more to it than that. And given the background of the electric universe, it of course makes more sense why it would be so more mystical, etc. Wouldn't you say?
Possibly, but I think that the fundamental understanding of it is enough to.
Yes, it is
to inspire. And then to grow thereafter. And once you see things in nature, you understand what's driving.
Yeah, you do, because it's like spring comes, isn't it? And one day you look at the trees in something like February, and they're or March, they're very tightly budded. There's not even a bud. And then the next thing you look the next day, and there is a bud, and there is flowering, and something is coming into being. And so the yin holds within it that essence of the ability to manifest always. And the yang takes something to the ultimate state, which, again, it disappears. So for every action, there's an opposite, and there's an opposite and equal reaction. It's a little like the waxing and the waning moon. The waxing and the waning moon describes or even underpins, for all we know, this that we've been talking about, because the waxing moon brings into manifestation, the waning moon tends to banish. So when we inhale, we're taking things back into ourselves, which is why in shock we'll breathe in quickly, and if we don't forget to breathe out, then we've actually registered something in the cellular memory. So we must always breathe, and we must breathe through the diaphragm and know when we're breathing in a shallow sense, we're coming from a state of fear, or we're not operating fully with the potential of these forces, which are the two life-giving forces of yin and yang. Yeah, so the waxing and waning moon it's about the life cycles, it's about the blood to a certain extent, it's about ovulation, it's about this whole thing of manifestation, things preparing to manifest. It's said that when the one about whom naught can be said, the God force, inhales, everything goes back into that being, and there is nothing. There is nothing manifest when he exhales, or the force exhales. The whole universe comes again into manifestation. And as we are microcosm of the macrocosm, I think that when we are breathing out, it is yes, it is a relinquishing, it's a releasing of whatever stress or patterns have gone before, but it's also a preparation period for the breathing in, because we breathe out, we put something out, we breathe in, we take something in. So it's almost like the counterflow of what happens in a universal sense. But it's still about manifestation and demanifestation.
I agree.
Yes, it's true. If you look at the movements of how people do Tai Chi with the extension or yoga, but Tai Chi or Qigong is more flowing or moving. So the breath goes along with the movement, the stretching, the making. And I think that when we are allowing, when we see people breathe, when we see the pauses people make between speech, between sentences, between words within conversation, the body language of breath says a lot, because when we are relaxing, we are taking in, we're accepting, we're allowing. When we hold our breath, we're not sure. We're between states of, should I repel or should I accept? Should I reject or should I accept?
I see it as being in existence and then being out of existence.
Really?
If you could speed up, this is only a theory, but
yeah, of course.
If you could speed up what you could actually see in front of your eyes, you would actually see people switching on and off, flickering.
That's a very, very interesting analogy, and it does go along with the way they're breathing.
Yeah, but it does take you to another place where it's like, do we move or do we regenerate?
Yeah.
So it's one of them. It's quite complicated to think about.
It's very complex. This is why the whole manifestation, demanifestation, the visible, the invisible. I think that more and more, what we thought of as invisible, what was invisible, is becoming visible within our universe, and think that includes both the bad and the good, if you like, the things that shouldn't be or are better not being visible, and that stuff which actually inspires through being more visible than we ever thought it would be. And the veil is thinning between the realms in the subtle sense. So thank you. Join us next time on The Electric Universe.